focusing on Employee Experience 5.0, culture, well-being and engagement in a tech era. To introduce the distinguished speaker, Mr. Satish Rajaratnam, I invite Ms. Jessica for the profile reading.
It is a privilege to introduce our distinguished guest for today's session, Mr. Satish Rajaratnam, an accomplished enterprise visionary, author and thought leader. With a professional journey spanning over 26 years, he has made significant contribution in the fields of technology, human resource, leadership development, and sustainable agriculture. During his career, he has held leadership roles in globally recognized organizations such as Emphasis, Cognizant, HCL Technologies, and Siemens, where he played a key role in shaping talent strategies and leadership cultures. Beyond the corporate world, Mr. Rajaratnam is deeply passionate about agripreneurship and sustainability. As a practitioner of organic and sustainable farming, he actively bridges the gap between corporate leadership and environmental responsibility. His ideas on leadership are reflected in his book Harvesting Leadership, which draws insightful parallels between agricultural and organizational management. He holds certifications from leading professional bodies, including the Society for Human Resource Management, and is associated with frameworks such as Agile Leadership, Lego Series Play, Six Sigma, and NFNLP. Academically, he is a research scholar as the Swiss School of Management and an alumnus of the Indian School of Business and the National University of Singapore. His achievements include recognition as one of the Forbes top 30 talent leaders, being listed among Asia's 100 HR power leaders, and receiving the Global Achievers Award. He is also a TEDx speaker, professional illusionist, and mentalist with over 1,300 performances, and actively supports the Chennai-based organization Udavum Karangal. With such a diverse and inspiring journey, we are truly honored to have him with us today. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Satish Rajaratnam as he has his insight with us today. Thank you, sir.
Hi, morning everyone. Been a while that I've been to MSSW. Used to be here for all the tantras and all the shows done in the past. Um, it's fairly tough, right, to have an intro read like that and have to stand up to it. Else it'll all fall flat, right? That's the life journey, right? You can't just keep boasting, but you have to deliver something. Um, how long have you guys been sitting here in this room since morning? What time did you guys reach here? 9. What time did you leave home to reach here by 9? 5:30? Who's at 5:30? Which country are you from? 7? Okay. All right. So I left at, I mean, I shouldn't be lying. I left at only about 8:45. Right? It took me about 2.5 hours, thanks to Sholinganallur and the metro. Right. I live beyond. I live proudly what I call as Chengalpet district. I live beyond Kelambakam, so it took a lot of time. For once, I thought I will skim through and not take the outer ring road, and that's when you have all of these trucks and lorries coming in. But that's fine. Okay, the reason I had asked you as to how early you guys reached here is to get your span of attention. If I may request you all to please stand up for a quick second before I get all your attention back into the session. Please put your phones down. No WhatsApp, no Insta, no Reels. You can put your books down as well. The guys with the blazers, thank you. All right, we'll do a small, exactly like what she does, a very small stretch exercise. Everybody, put your right hand forward. I'm doing a mirror, so I'm trying to do a mirror. Put your right hand forward, everyone. Yeah. Left hand forward. Don't hit the person standing in front of you. Watch out. Don't knock her. Yeah. Stretch your fingers. That's not what we're going to do. Palms facing outward, everyone. Put your right hand crossover on top of your left hand. Club your fist as tight as possible so that it's locked. You don't have to do that. That's fine. Don't do that. Ma'am, this way. Yes, perfect. Make sure your right thumb is on top of your left thumb. Your right thumb is on top of your left thumb so that it's locked. Abdul, right thumb. I thought you had only one right thumb, right? You sure that's the right thumb? No, because you have your friend helping you. But anyway, right, make sure it's locked. So, count of 3, you need to use all your AI knowledge and your MSSW course curriculum knowledge that you've gained and do as I do, okay? Count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Slowly and steadily use AI to visualize unlocking and your thumbs up. Come on, guys. Why, you didn't get it? You follow the instructions, right? No? Thank you so much. Take your seats, everybody. Okay.
Yeah, he was using the other right thumb. Okay. She's still trying. All right, this is what we're going to do, right? We're going to try to decipher what's the workforce and workplace going to be like in the next few years, right? I think about 8-9 years back, when I was here, same place, I spoke about Internet of Things and whatnot, right? As to how things are going to shape up. Spoke a lot about robotic process automation and how work is going to get left shifted. And today we've gone beyond that, right? Forget about that. Last year, I was talking so much about how AI might transform the ways of working. This year, we're talking about AI is already transformed. So that's the speed at which technology is transforming lives. Yeah. So that's one thing that I want you guys to take in mind, right? 2 things that you will get to see. I will always draw parallels between what you learn as foundation in your university and what you should take as credentials outside the university. Because in today's world, university paves the way like your Anand Martins and Ilakiam and whatever in Tamil that you call it as. But that's a foundation. That's a base. But when you step out of that comfort zone, you should also be doing a lot of credentializing yourself in a lot of technology-driven aspects. So you might ask, as an HR, why should I know technology, right? Just so to let you know, I have 8 patents on my name. 2 of them are design patents on tech, right? This is on AI. I think you read about it. I have 1 tech patent on the agricultural side as well, right? I'm not a practitioner. I'm a full-time agriculturalist right now. I do agripreneurship as for a living, and I thought it is testimony that I use AI because I need to walk the talk. I can't say you can do this in AI, you can do that in AI, but not do anything about it. So any walk of life that I do, I use a lot of AI. Any walk of life, right? We will talk about it in the next few minutes or so, right? If we can move to the next one, please. So how is AI transforming business in today's context? That's a critical part, guys. The first number should actually ring a jitter bell, right? This is not a threat. This is a warning for all of us. Yeah, 85 million worker shortage projected up until 2030. What do you mean by that? People with digital skills, quote unquote, digital skills, right? That's the shortage that we're going to foresee. Why are we foreseeing that? In today's context, not many are willing to look at digital learning as a walk of life. Yes, domain is critical, your function is critical. In HR, I can talk until cows come home about SEOs to sourcing, to hiring, to candidate engagement, to onboarding, to learning and development, to performance, to employee experience, to exit management, to whatever, whatnot, right? Comm philosophies and all those inclusive. But in any of these, if I do not talk digital, right, there's no point me having so much of gray hair. My job will get redundant tomorrow, not even today. Tomorrow it'll get redundant, right? And that's why I'm saying it's a warning that's coming up to all of us as HR professionals, budding HR professionals and leaders. That's something that we need to watch out for. Yeah. These are deep research that's been done in terms of how many people who are practicing their own domains and practices and so on, but not as much into digital technology stack. I'll tell you why. The banks that we work today for in terms of IT projects and consulting, or the healthcare centers, or the insurance players, or any of them, right? Comms, media, technology, and whatever, whatnot. Today, bankers call themselves as a fintech firm. They do not say they are a bank anymore. They are a fintech firm delivering banking as a service. Today, a healthcare company says, I'm a health tech firm doing healthcare as a service. InsurTech, I'm doing insurance as a service. I'm doing loan origination, servicing, underwriting, mortgages, and so on and so forth. Right? Take transportation, multimedia, life sciences, buyers and payers, and all of those stuff. All of these guys today talk technology and say they do their domain as part of this service. So things are flipped, mind you, right? So tomorrow you cannot say, I'm an HR professional, I know how to write a comm philosophy, fantastic. But how much of tech you know? Not as much. You will not be relevant to the industry. That's an open comment from my side. I don't know how you guys will take it and react to it, but that's where it is. Today, if I go to a college like MSSW, if I want to hire someone, the first thing that I will ask him or her is, how much of AI have you used in any walk of your life, in any one of your internship or wherever, whatnot? If you're going to say 10%, 20%, 30%, I will prioritize you a little lower than someone who's used this for a living, for any of the internship program or anything that he or she does. Yeah, I'm not saying that your professors are going to ask you to do a project and use AI 100% with a lot of plagiarisms. That is strictly no. But are you using that as your aid, as your bot, as your co-bot? That is what I'm looking at. You should be able to talk that language of technology in HR. And that's where what I do and whatever that I propose, wherever I go talk, is please be a HR full stack individual. Do not be an HR professional, but be an HR full stack individual. What do you mean by that? We'll talk about that as well. One is technology. Two, you should be able to understand and appreciate and talk the business language. If I'm going to throw back and ask you, what is our GDP? Anybody? What's our GDP? Last report of GDP? Anyone? No chat GPT now. Whatever you know, I'll take it. Now you know where I'm heading towards? As an HR professional, budding HR professional, you should know what's happening in the country, what's happening in your economy. And that is what I call as full stack. You're getting it? So there are a lot of tidbits that I'll start giving you. Guys, take it with a pinch of salt. But that's the industry outside. When someone comes in and sits in your campus for interview, these are few things that you should watch out for. It is not just what you've learned. It is about what you know outside of what you've learned. And that is what I would be looking forward to. Yeah. So 8 trillion revenue risk. Why? Because there is a talent shortage. People are not digitally savvy, and hence there is a 8 trillion potential risk of revenue not getting realized. What is 8 trillion? What is Indian economy's total value? We spoke about it, part of GDP, but what's the value now? 4.2, 4.3 trillion. That's the economy that we're driving on, right? 8 trillion is double the size of India, like a country like ours. There is a revenue loss potential because there is a shortage of talent in this era. Digital talent, right? 78% executive feel it's their concern today, right? Because that's a top business issue today. Today, HR can run a performance management process. HR can run a training needs analysis. HR can run a employee engagement, celebrating birthdays, parties, doing a town hall, one-on-one communication, fantastic. HR can draw a comm philosophy, talk to Mercer, talk to PwC, get some input from market, draw a philosophy and say this is a comm philosophy. Or run a recruitment policy by looking at the market today and say this is the percentile hiring numbers for these ranges and this technology stack and this what is whatnot, right? But when you get down to understanding where the economy is going to move forward, where the company is going to move forward, the understanding of business nuances is very, very low. That would directly impact our levels of employability. Yeah, and that's what we mean by 78% of executives from companies feel that way. Yeah, 13% feel, there's only 13% who are technologically savvy is what most of the executives are alluding towards. HR leaders rate their talent management as excellent. There's only 13%. So if you look at it, yeah, significant number, 87% of the HR fraternity are still not up there in terms of digital nuances or digital capability. Yeah, you might ask, why are we focusing only on digital capability? Mind you guys, today's era is all digital. Tomorrow, why tomorrow, right? You would have seen some numbers from Google. There was an open offer from Google's CEO to everybody saying, you either take voluntary or you'll be given voluntary. Yeah, so all of these are happening. For all that you may know, tomorrow for commoditized roles, people will not hire talent, but they will hire agents. When I say agents, agentic AIs and not humans. That's what I mean. Yeah, that's a significant shift. So if only 13% know what is digital, what is AI, what is agentic AI, what is quantum, how do you do all these technology stuff, they will survive and thrive in this industry. But look at the number, look at the gap. Especially for HR fraternity, there's a big, big gap that you're looking at. You move on to the next one, please. Okay. So how can we move from being a transactional to a transformational HR leader or HR, quote unquote, any role that you're going to play going forward, right? The shift is going to be fairly simple. For now, given the context that we are in, it is all about AI. For all that you may know, by the time you guys pass out next year, it will all be quantum coming in, GPUs coming in, right? You'll get to know the infra side of AI as well. Agentic coming in. You'll be able to ask to write an SLM, a small language model, or a large language model, for all that you may know, right? Today, a developer's job is being done by Anthropic, Claude. Today, a developer's job can be done by a GPT. Today, a developer's job in IT can be done by a GenSpark. Mind you, these are all tools, AI, LLMs that are available. If you look at, have you guys heard about Sarvam? Anybody? Sarvam? Sarvam AI? Okay, guys, meet me outside of this session. Look, Sarvam AI is our indigenous AI language model that our folks in India have built out. Yeah, you should know about it. Do you guys know Swayam? Super, thank you. Something like that. Swayam is more of a learning content platform, but Sarvam AI is a model like a DeepSeek, like a Perplexity, like a GPT, like a GenSpark, or like a Claude, right? And all of these, okay? So that's what we're looking at. Now, your transactional work today, I'll give you one example. In my company, 80% of what a sourcing or a recruiter will do is being done by an AI agent today. 80%, 85% of the job is already moved, right? When you post a job, for example, the AI will decide, is the job title relevant to the industry IT title? It will look at the JD and say, the job title is okay, but the JD is little vary. It will fine tune the JD in itself, right? It will add more use cases to the JD, and then it will start pushing it into all the social job portals, whether it's LinkedIn or Founded or whatever, Naukri or whatever, wherever it is, right? Once that is done, the AI will start looking at the number of people who have sent their profile or accepted the job post and say, I want to apply for this profile. The AI will stack rank the profile by itself. There are 10,000 hits for the job post, for example. The AI will scan each and every profile. It will stack rank the profile by looking at certain keywords, matrices, and all of those stuff. Of the 10,000, these 1,000 profiles match 60 to 70% of your JD. So the recruiter will have to focus only on the first 1,000 and not the entire 10,000. In years, the sourcer will keep calling everybody. Are you interested? This is a day job. It's work from office. Are you willing to do this? Are you willing to do that? I see that you've written Java full stack. What have you done? He will do all these screening questions. Today, everything is shifted out. Today, the agent does it. Of the 1,000, the agent will reach out. When I say agent, systemic agent, okay? Not a call center agent. The system will reach out. The systemic agent will reach out to these 1,000 candidates. If someone picks up, well and good. If someone doesn't pick up, well and good still, right? Someone picks up, it will start asking some basic screening questions. hey, my office is in Perungudi right next to BSR Mall. Will you be able to travel every day to the office? No, 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 I don't want to do a 5-day office. Thank you so much. We'll call you back. If someone says yes, of this 1,200 will say yes, I'm willing to work from office because I stay close by. I'm willing to work on the technology. I'm okay with your company. I'm okay with the shift, whatever, whatnot. The agent will immediately trigger saying, thank you so much for your response. Can we get to do an interview right now? All these agent does it. It's a conversational AI algorithm that we built internally. The agent will also talk. It'll convert audio to text. It'll also do proctored video and audio interview. Yeah. If someone of this 200, 100 will say, yes, I'm okay to take the interview. Mind you, all of these are asynchronous in the sense, all these are happening at the same time. It doesn't wait after one interview, after one interview, other interview, because when a recruiter does it, it's all one after the other. The agent, because it's systemic, everything happens at the same time. 200 interviews go at the same time. The engine calls these guys. What happens then? So the engine will call, it'll say, hey, thank you so much. Can we also have a consent for you to record this conversation? Of the 200, 150 will say yes, 50 will say no, then we'll drop that interview. We'll say thank you so much, we'll get back to you later. The other 150 will start the interview. So the agent will, it's with the avatar, you can put in your face, your voice, or you can let it generate any voice, any avatar also, the possibility is there. You'll start asking questions. Hey Abdul, thank you so much for reaching out to us. We saw your profile. Your profile matches 80% of our job description. Hey Jebin, yours matches 70% of what it is. Can we talk about your profile? We'll say, yeah, we can do that. Okay, Jebin, we see this in your profile. You said you worked in a bank. You've worked on a onboarding on KYC module. What have you done? This is how the agent will communicate. Like I talk to you, that's how it talks. Mind you, all of these bits are recorded and proctored of video and audio. If Jebin says, yes, I've done a KYC module, then if you do a alt shift, what has happened when you do alt shift in your laptop? You switch screen. Maybe he would have referred to his profile, or he would have opened a ChatGPT Alive, whatever, right? My AI will say, Jebin at this point of second has shifted his screen and he started typing something else in another screen for this question. Then Jebin comes back here, answers the question for us, right? The AI will capture saying for this question, Jebin was looking at the camera and talking, but for the next two questions, Jebin was looking there and talking. And suddenly for the fifth question, Jebin's voice changed to Abdul's voice. Mind you guys, this is what an agent does today for me. It can track your eyeball movement. It can track your screen movement. It can track your audio change, modulation changes. It can track your screen changes. It can track everything else. Yeah? The agent will then decide, look, I want to do an impersonation issue. Is he really Jebin or someone else? Hey Jebin, this is fantastic. Do you have an Aadhaar card with you? Can you please flash it to the screen? Mind you, that's how intelligent the systems are built today. You flash your Aadhaar card. The picture in the Aadhaar card and Jebin's face, no matter most Aadhaar cards, if you take my Aadhaar card, it will be taken in high secondary. But still it matches. The facial recognition software matches that and says, yes, 90% of the time this is Satish. He had black hair then, he has gray hair now, which is okay. Right? It does that matching as well in the same interview. So in this half an hour of discussion with the conversational AI, it does all of these match. Then at one point in time, I'll think, hey, Jebin, looks like you've done this, is what you've put in your format. How do you go about in writing a comp or bonus structure for a company? Because you said you're an HR person, studied in MSSW, you worked in this company for a while, you would have done some comp philosophy or bonus structuring. Can you tell me how you've gone about in doing that? Can you type it? There is a whiteboarding. In IT, we call it whiteboarding. If you're a software developer, I'll ask, can you code this for me, please? If you're an HR person, can you say, can you write down how do you structure a incentive plan, for example? He does it. Yeah. Immediately that is also evaluated and rated by the engine. So end of the 30 to 45 minutes, the engine will capture a proctored video audio interview. The engine will also say we asked Jebin about 15 to 20 conversations. In that, 5 to 10 he was answering facing the camera, 5 to 10 he was way off. 2 to 3 questions, some other voice got modulated, right? And for these 4 questions, he didn't have proper answer, and hence he's a 40% match to the job, right? It gives you the entire history. And all these, mind you guys, in parallel, all these 150 profiles that the agent is calling, it does in half an hour. So in half an hour, It screens 10,000 profiles. It reaches out to 2,000 profiles. It converts that into 1,000 in ranking. From there, it picks up 200. From there, it interviews 150. And then says, these are the 6 people that are 90% matched to the JD, who meets all the qualifying criteria, functionally, domain-wise, technically, and they did not do any fraudulent activity. They did not switch screens, nor have someone else answer, and all of the stuff. Look at the speed and agility that systems are bringing in today. If you were to do this using a recruiter, think about it, put a math around it, right? The recruiter will have to call the candidate. Candidate will not pick up, he or she will be in somewhere outside in a meeting or driving or riding or whatever it is, has to wait. Think about all of these, yeah? And that's what we're talking about. There's got to be an elevation towards what we do and how we do using agents to a large extent, and that's how you transform from being a transactional HR to a transformational HR. Strategic elevation, shift towards leadership development, culture shaping, which is very critical. Right? In today's AI world, people just negate culture, and I strongly believe, and that's what I've written in my book as well, culture eats strategy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. No matter what you talk about, culture is testimonial, and that's the only place, even today or even in future, AI cannot take over human job. Let me put that up front, right? So that's something that we need to start looking at. The next one is value definition. It is about org intelligence, the one that I spoke to you about, full stack HR. It is not about what HR knowledge that you bring into the table. It is about what business intelligence that you bring into the table as HR. You should be able to talk to your CEOs and CXOs and tell him or her, boss, you're bid for this business. For this business, we need these talent. This talent is not available in Chennai. It's available only in Pune. It's not available in Hyderabad. It's available only in Ahmedabad. Giving you some hypothetical situation. It is those information that CEOs or CXOs today are looking forward to from HR. It is not by saying, once the deal is done, go hire. That anybody can do. Today, even a system can do today. An agent can do for you. But it is business intelligence, and that is what we call as value redefinition. How do you bring in org intelligence? How do you gauge? It is not about training 200 people because your CXO wanted you to train them on. It is about proactively telling your CXO, saying, look, we have only so many people trained on so much of competencies and capability. We have so many people certified, but not others. Can you give that intelligence much ahead of the curve? And that's what we're talking about, how agile you are as an individual. Can you move on to the next one? So I'm going to rush from here on. A lot of AI things will start coming in. Sorry guys, I'm very passionate about that. I've been working on it. I'm working on a product, so I do throw a lot of jargons. Stop and ask questions if I get overboard on jargons. So how do you shape the work and HR to a large extent, right? 42% of job tasks could be automated by AI. 42% of what we do today. Mind you, half of it is already done. The one example that I gave, recruiters' life cycle has been shortened. Yeah, we have to optimize recruiters and put them onto other HR functions. That's already started off big time. Yeah, let's be honest about it. Another example, quickly, I know I'm running against time, but then quickly, we have AI ML driven LXPs, learning experience platforms. Like the Zwayam, which is more of a e-content platform, we have learning journey curators. When Jebin, after all these interviews, for example, sorry, he's not here, but I'm picking up. When he logs into the system, it will say, hey Jebin, thank you for logging in. This was your interview feedback. We felt you're 70% matched to the job role. This was your interviewer feedback. And hence you're taking up this role. This is your learning journey. Considering your interview feedback and your current role, this has to be a learning journey. You have to be good in technology, in writing a comm philosophy. You have to be good in writing a employee experience survey, for example, right? These are 2-3 things that have been picked up by your manager and by the system. These are your learning courses. So the day one of joining of any candidate, we give them what was fed in the interview as feedback, what is the current role that is needed, give them the proficiency gap. You're supposed to be at an expert, but you're a practitioner level, and hence take these courses. And for that, you have 3 months timeline to complete it. This is the assessment. This will be linked directly into your performance management. All of these are done without any human intervention. So think about it. People who are saying that I will do training needs analysis. Every 6 months, I sit with the team. I talk to them one-on-one. I gather training needs information. I talk to the managers, validate the training information. All those are gone today. There is no TNI, TNA per se from a one-on-one standpoint. It is there, but the system does it. The agent does it today. So understanding what is TNI, what is TND is critical, but how you use it using an agent is something that you need to start learning towards. It will not be any more one-on-one human touch point to do all those TNI. Performance management document. Today I have a system where it picks up from the project side, from the customer side. It goes on to the Outlook, your mailbox. It picks up all project-based feedback from the customer, from your manager, from your peer and everything. It will summarize and say, end of the year, this is your performance management document. The system, the AI itself, the agent itself will write this entire performance document for you. You don't have to go scamper around for data. That's the speed at which it works today. Yeah? So every walk of life we've done this. We've done employee experience using metaverse. What is metaverse? Have you guys seen the Marvel pictures? There'll be one guy who will do this. There'll be a circle that'll come in. People jump into it. Yeah, something like that, right? Our employee engagement programs is like we run a cruise ship. We give them a ticket. We send an email. You accept the cruise ship ticket. During the day and the time of the venue, there is a huge screen that's projected even in the cafeteria or in your laptop or in your LED TVs at home. You will start looking at it. The cruise ship will start off, then you'll see rooms and everything. You click on a room. It's like a gaming stuff, right? You click on a room, you get into that room. Yeah, you can start playing. You can take a selfie with your CEO, your CXO, your friends, your colleagues, your managers, whatever you want to do. The cruise ship goes on. Last time we did Caribbean, right? It will say, hey, get me down at a Caribbean island in West Indies, right? The cruise ship stops for you. You can get down. Once you get down, you will see, coconut trees and whatnot, and it gives you all those functionalities, right? So we've created IR, VR related stuff, which is a typical Marvel type movie inside your home. Why? Because we started using multiverse. Yeah. So things are changing, guys. No more ribbon cutting, cake cutting. HR is doing a birthday party celebration cafeteria. That's all gone. Yeah, you can do it in the university, but that's fine. But in corporate life, all those are gone. You've started using metaverse, big time on that. Employee recognition programs, right? We have CXO, CEO, or celebrity standing in one place, handing over the certificate. Almost at a similar time, a courier is delivered at your home, and that's the way that we've timed it. Yeah. So everything is virtual today. Everything is AI driven, AR, VR, whatever name that you want to put it together, right? That's the way that we thrive. So that's very, very critical. So widespread AI adoption. 60% of employees actively use AI, right? How many of you guys use ChatGPT? Almost all, right? How many of you guys use Perplexity? Fantastic. GenSpark. Okay, I don't want to get beaten up by our professors, but that is much better than all the other two that I spoke about, right? GenSpark has much more, Claude has much more features, GenSpark has much more features, deep research features than the other two. Yeah, I'm a strong proponent of Perplexity and not GPT, but yeah, I'm saying GenSpark is fantastic, right? But anyway, given that out, that's where it is. People have started already using, like you guys, they've started using AI, but you're using AI at a very, very academic level for a transaction. That has to change. It has to change from being a transaction to transformation. Start using it for a long-term strategy. Go ask a GPT, what is the GDP of India for us to grow into a 5 trillion economy? What should we do differently? It'll give you an answer. That answer is something you need to talk with your CEO saying, for you to grow your company from $1 billion to $2 billion, let's start doing this. Use GPT wisely and not use it for transaction per se. Don't say create a attrition dashboard. Anybody can do it. A co-pilot in your Windows can do it today. But use your GPTs more precisely. Yeah. ROI reality, and that's what we spoke about. Only 1 in 50 AI investment delivers results. Why? Because they still use it for very, very transaction level activity. They're not using it for a strategic intent. I think we should shift that pendulum, right? I know it's a very nascent stage. You guys have just started using this and so on and so forth. But I think we should start shifting towards. Can we move on to the next one, please? So from a talent management perspective, what are the 4 avenues, right? 4 critical areas. Proactive ecosystem strategy. Move from reactive hiring to ecosystem. The one that example that I gave you. Today, I know how many bids my company has done. When I say bids, how many customer interviews, customer discussions the company is going through. What is the sales trajectory? There are 20 sales proposals sitting with the client. Of the 20, probably I know for sure we will win at least 7 to 8 of them. If we win those 7 to 8 of them, what is the skill set needed to fulfill talent for the company? Look at that proactively. Today, AI does that. For the 7 to 8 clients that we might win, the agent will go to the system, it look at the HCM, and say, boss, you have 3,000 people in your company. Of that, only 200 people have the skill that you're selling. But if all the 7 projects are signed off and given to your company, you need 300 people, and then you need to start hiring 100 people with this skill set. Not only that, it will say of the 200, another 50 people are there who can be upskilled, cross-skilled, so that you can start working on them as well right now. So it'll give you all the intelligence information proactively, and that's what I mean by being proactive. Create an ecosystem that is proactive using digital transformation, not just AI, but any other form, right? Engagement and retention. Reality is that over 50% of employees actively explore external opportunities, right? So what happens? This will kind of fix. It'll give you the tidbits, your red, amber, green, RASI metrics or whatever you want to call it as, much ahead of the curve. It'll say, hey, Abdul is a great guy. Up until last 3 years, he was rated 5 out of 5. So I know only 2 people, so I keep quoting them, right? In his performance appraisal, he's been rated 5 on 5. But today, this year, I get to see him taking more leaves. He's absent many times. His utilization has dropped significantly. Why? Because in the last 5 years, he's not been promoted. Yeah, his time at office is only 3 hours and not 8 hours. All these are information that the AI gathers. It will also go and check Abdul's mailbox and say the emails that he is writing is all in one-liner. His tonality in which he's addressing his manager, his team, has become very low. He is looking frustrated. He sounds frustrated. Mind you, the agent can today do all of these and say, Abdul is your next potential attrite in your company. It will help retain your top talent, not just top talent, any talent for that matter. Today, a system can do all of these. You don't need a HR business partner to sit and do one-on-one, one-to-many, town hall. System will pick all these today. Every company today has like when you go to an airport or a train station, you get a sad smiley, moderate smiley, and sad smiley, right? A happy smiley. It does a moodometer. Agent can do it without you knowing it, by the way. And the managers and the CXOs will know. There's a dashboard created. Yeah. Workforce fluidity. The one that I spoke to you about is, I don't want to put this as skills fluidity. Why? Like I said, you can say that I'm a banking domain expert, please. But unless you do not know fintech, financial technology, you'll be ranked lower. And that's what I mean by skill fluidity. You have to be agile enough in acquiring more skills on the run. Don't be begged down by saying, I will do only recruitment because I'm a recruiter. I'm a hardcore recruiter. Many people have said that. Today, all of them are saying, I don't have a role. That's a reality. Don't say I'm a hardcore comp and philosophy, comp and Ben guy. Fantastic. Tomorrow, your agentic, your perplexity can do this much better with global data. What are you going to do? Yeah? And that's why I keep saying, as much as possible, try to be a HR full stack individual and not be siloed into one specific function within HR. That's also critical, right? Skills fluidity. Skills intelligence, like I said, the LXP example that I quoted, right? It will give you much out of the curve, what skills are needed from a company perspective, team perspective, and individual perspective. That's a skills intelligence platform that we've already built out. Can you move on quickly? Another 6-7 minutes, I'll close it out, right? Guys, this is the AI maturity model that we're talking about. Yeah. In my black hair times, it used to be administrative automation. Convert an Excel sheet into a VBA macro. You click on that macro, it runs every time. I don't know how many of you guys even know VBAs today or the macros today. But that's what we used to do. Decision support. We use a cobot. We'll look at the data and then take a decision. That's a decision support ecosystem. It will show some data, slice, dice, in a multivariate analysis, mean, median, modes, whatever, standard deviation, so on. We take a decision based on that. Then it became integrated system. Today, all HCMs, most of them are integrated with AI. But it'll only show you data. Yeah. The last one is agentic. This is from being predictive, prescriptive to action. The agent itself, not just knowing the data, right? It also knows Abdul is my potential red attrite next month. The agent will start reaching out to Abdul. That's how I've created an algorithm. It'll reach out to Abdul saying, Abdul, looks like last 4 years you've done a phenomenal job. For that, from an organization perspective, we want to nominate you for the certification. You will say, we are going to assign you a stretched role. Would you be interested to do that? The agent will reach out and engaging the candidate who's at high potential risk. It'll execute. So if you look at it, this is typically an HR partner's role, right? An HR partner will sit with an employee who's potentially may or may not attrite and talk about and engage with that individual, but the agent does it today. Yeah, and that is the elevation of AI. That's agentic AI. It does everything without human intervention. That's what we call as agentic AI. It does everything for you. Yeah, so that's a maturity that we are talking about, guys. In talent management, it's a reality already. Our true testimonial is my company, the current and the previous one as well. And that's what we do for a living. Yeah, move on. Well, next frontier in talent management, we just spoke about it. It gets all of the intelligence out there, autonomous intelligence. What is autonomous? Like the cars that drive in Volvos and all others, right? Driverless cars. Have you guys heard about it? Yes, suppose you go, there are cabs that are driverless anymore, right? You don't need a driver. Think about it. If the technology comes into India, what's going to happen to those thousands and thousands of cabbies? Your Olas, the Ubers, whatever, right? The other players today. What will happen to them? It's a big question mark, right? It's alarming. And that's what we talk about, autonomous intelligence. And that is what agentic AI brings into the schema. Hybrid co-intelligence, traditional boundaries between human and digital labor is only narrowing significantly. Reimagination is required. Like I said, the examples that I quoted you today, we need to start reimagining how HR functions or how even workforce will function going forward. If all of these are happening, why do you need a big real estate to ask people to come and work at office? Things are changing, right? So that's a big question mark from a talent management standpoint. How do you manage such huge paradigm shift that we're even talking about? Next one, please. One use case, well, I can't blatantly put it as this is Microsoft's out here, so I've taken the name off. This is Microsoft use case. This is from Nadella's office, right? Way back, no, not now, it's way back, right? 30% internal mobility increase. This has happened in Microsoft Office, their GCC. 30% increase in local rotations. The one example that I gave, upskill, cross-skill, and all the stuff and redeployment, 30% mobility increased. 25% turnover reduction. So people know that Abdul may quit, Jimin may quit, and then proactively engage those high potentials, high risk employees, get them stay back, right? Do a stay conversation and not have an exit conversation. That's a big shift, by the way, guys, right? I don't know if you guys know, we've started doing stay conversations. We don't do exit conversations anymore. We know for sure if someone exits, we know for sure why he or she is exiting. But making them stay back is a big challenge, and that's what we do. We do stay discussions. Yeah? Turnover reduced by 25%. 85% satisfaction rate. Every quarter we do dipstick survey, quick dipstick survey. Are you happy with this? Are you happy with Norman? All those stuff, right? People say yes, no, maybe, whatever. We do that. All this information, real-time analysis and agentic AI helps me address all these challenges here and now. 85% is increased for this company from an employee experience standpoint. Yeah, can you move on, guys? Well, how do we get prepared as HR leaders, as HR budding leaders, young professionals? How do we get prepared, right? AI literacy, the one example that I quoted, right? It's not just GPT, guys. The next technology is RAG, which is Retrievable Augmented Generative AI. What is that? It does multivariate analysis of AI generated content versus your internal content. It does a mix and match and say this is true, this is not true. Typical example is Australian government. You know what happened to PwC and Australian government? I don't know if you do not know, please Google that out as well, right? Or GPT that as well. They had to pay some huge penalty because the consulting firm used generative data and shared some information which impacted the government out there locally. They had to pay some 400 million fine for that. A RAG is a new technology that will analyze your internal data and compare to the global data that you get, and it'll give you the variance as well. It's called as Retrievable Augmented Generative, right? So all that I'm saying is that the literacy on AI is critical. If you haven't done it, please do it. Understand what is NLP, what is algorithm, how does all of these systems work, right? How does agentic works, how does AI works, what is ML, what do you mean by all of these stuff? Just go through that. Yeah? Continuous learning. Like I said, the skills fluidity is very, very critical. Keep learning a lot, don't stop learning, not just your functional university-related curricula, but otherwise as well. Reach out to a few experts, ask them what is needed, HR stack, what it needs from an AI, from an HR perspective. Go attend conferences. There are multiple conferences that are happening. There are a lot of bodies. I think we have NHRD or NIPMs. Those guys also come here. Shram, NHRD, NIPM, all these guys do. Every second week there is one, HR conference. Please go attend. At least one. Yeah. Human-centric balance, foster approach that balances AI with HR, always accentuate H in HR, and that's what I do. Always accentuate human side of the human resources. And that's what we need to do. Leadership gap, AI-ready CHROs, if you look at it, only 7%. This study came in last quarter, end of 25, right? According to the data done by research, there are only 7% of CHROs are capable of even talking technology strategy in the talent space. So that's a big gap, right? 93% needs development out there. Can we move on? Next one. Well, the last one that I'm going to leave you with a thought is lead the workforce revolution by embracing AI as an enabler. I call this as a symbiotic relationship. It is not bot, it is not co-bot. Don't use it as an aid. It's symbiotic. You need to know, like I said, as a recruiter, let the AI do your job. It's easier, faster for you. You only take a decision. You roll out only the offer and the compensation decision. Let the AI do everything. Else, a 10, 12-day work for you, yeah, is minimized into 1 hour work. Why wouldn't I do that? I'll give it to my agentic AI, and you do the work. I'll only release offer. It's much faster. Embrace AI. Redesign your talent systems. Talk data. All data should converge into one place. Else, use algorithms to convert. Use APIs to convert all of these platforms into one, and use AI to mine it. Champion learning and shape the future, right? So the last one is very, very critical. The next decade's HR leaders will define the future of work. And are you ready? It's easy said and done. It's a good English phrase. The next slide is very, very important. If you can move on. I'm open to questions. I know I've taken a wee bit of time, but I'm open to questions. Yes, please. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you for that, I think, engaging talk, although very scary, because whenever we have been witnessing the AI people or the tech people coming in, they are always scary.
Sir, so small correction.
Yeah.
There is no AI or there is no tech.
Yeah.
All of us have to talk the digital language. So we can say we are HR tech people. Starting today, we will proudly say we are all HR tech. We know AI. We worked on ChatGPT. We worked on Perplexity. So we're all HR tech.
So having said that, we on the floors of social work, we have a strong argument that HR is not social work and social work is not HR. So because in social work, we are very much, into people, trying into, get engaged with the people in person, trying to understand their problems, whether it is community work, whether it is casework or group work, whatever we are doing, providing our services. So we actually believe in entering into that social fabric of people. We actually believe in, eye-to-eye contact. We actually believe in, having one-to-one relationships with the people, with the target population, which we are actually working for. So I don't think that we have this fear going on around, for example, since last year, that AI is going to take your jobs and AI is very scary. At first place, I'm not getting this, why technology should actually encourage us. If there is something getting good coming our way so nicely, so that should be encouraging to us. So why is it so scary? Why is it always going on like it will replace you, it will replace you? And for example, about this argument that HR is not social work, because most of the universities in India actually having HR a separate department, and it is not part of social work. But we have this today here in MSSW. So I'm confused, like, why should it go like this? This should not be like this. This should be encouraging.
No. So, okay, first step, I want to clear the misnomer of threat. It is not a threat. It is only heads up. I want to mellow down the word threat to warning. Let me put it that way. Look, this is one space where still there is human side, though you practice AI. Unlike your fintech, your health tech, your insurtech, everywhere it's all left shifted. It's all technology driven. You don't need a human intervention there, right? It all can run an algorithm. If someone has a potential of earning 5 lakhs, he or she is applying for a loan of 2 lakhs. Looking at your credit period, your CIBIL score, 2 lakhs is given, which is an algorithm, right? But here, it is all about human tendencies. Like you rightly said, it is about social work. Now, if I were to go back and quote, how many of you guys know Daniel Coleman? I don't know, the EQ part of Daniel Code, right? just read through the 4-5 steps of maturity in Daniel Goleman's of EQ. That is what HR is for, in my view. You bring in the human side into it, but to flip the coin, when you bring in just the human side, instead of putting a lot of effort on the transactional value, can you use a symbiotic relationship with an AI engine or a model, get that information and process it much more faster? For you to do one-on-one eye contact with, for a social cause, for example, you need to do a lot of pre-work. You need to look at the cohort, their size, their demographics, what they have done, what they have not done, what is the society, economically, where are they, what should be done differently. For example, if you do a social work, right? If all those pieces can be done using an agent for you, it is only easy for you to move with a solution much quicker. It is about much faster to plate. Sorry, I talk about farm to plate, so much faster to market, right? So both have to coexist in my view. Yes, the warning could be for all the rudimentary commoditized transactional job, the one that I spoke about, posting a job ad. You don't need a human sitting and posting a job ad. Training needs analysis. You don't need a trainer to sit and talk to every employee in this room and figure out what training is needed for you to do your job better. All these are done by an algorithm. But once this is done, how would you go about in doing a learning journey? How would you govern it? How would you administer it? What content has to get in is a human side of it. That's the HR's role. So the speed, the velocity is much faster in the usage of any form of digital technology or AI or agentic or RAG or whatever technology that it is. I think that's the distinction. The later part of your question, jobs are going to go off, why are you promoting IT and all of these stuff? Well, this is like, I'm not sure if you know, when the first time the calculators were, invented and put on, professors took it to the street. Those days, I still have a black and white picture on that, right? Has anything changed after that? No, it is only the speed that's changed. Your ability to compute faster is kind of helped these profs to kind of make sure, look, I can give more. I can give more complex stuff and not restrict to a particular stuff, because the calculation manual would take a longer time, right? So it is all about how do you adapt to it. I think one of the slides I spoke about, how do you reimagine using AI? I think that's where the cat on the wall is, right? People today see only on one side of it, saying, if all these are gone, what's going to happen to me? But look at it, if all these are gone, I can do much more. So it's half glass, half full part of it, right? It's about what side of positivity that you will see when in any of these agentic guys coming in and getting the work done.
Just yes or no, because you said that this bot will be doing, scrutinizing 10,000 of applications in a single day, and you will be, having a list in the evening of 10 best people among all those. Okay. With your hand or heart, are you sure that you will get the 10 best people out of this process?
No, I'm not saying the 10 from the 10,000 will be given out to you. But for you to get to the 10, normally it takes at least 20 days for a recruiter. That 20 days has come down to 1 day. So you can go back to your business and tell the business, I've saved you 19 days of billing. That means your potential to earn for those 19 days has increased significantly. That is what I'm talking about, right? So that's why I'm saying it is about how we see the process. You can either see that, hey, if that's going to happen, what will happen? But this is like in coaching, we call it as a what will happen, what will not happen, yes and no, right? It's like that. It's a framework. So I see it as a positive side, because for my recruiter to screen 200 profiles, it used to take 15 days. Today, it takes only 1 day. So the velocity, that's why I'm saying time to deliver is much faster from a business perspective. And the revenue generation is much faster. Your quality is much faster. Again, mind you, don't get me wrong, the system will not say join, no join. The system will only say 80% fit, 70% fit, 60% fit. In this question, he was looking here, looking there. The decision is still with the human. That cannot be negated off. The system will only be symbiotic to a certain point. Beyond that, it's your decision. Yeah, hope that answers, sir. Okay, the next panel is also ready. One last question before I hand them over to.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. I'm Jennifer, and I'm an entrepreneur. I wanted to ask a question, sir. So I'm very curious about it. Since you told about AI generating, they are converting future into another, dimension, And what my question is that, what is the future outcome of the people who uses AI for, they are meeting idols, or they are putting celebrities into their video as if they are meeting. So it's come like it's trending right now. So what is the future outcome of that, sir? What do you think about it? It is dangerous or else it is a good thing?
Look, from a social cost perspective, it is not heading to the right direction. But think about it. If someone is going to use AI to do all of these, what are they going to earn beyond that? Or learn beyond that? Let me put it that way, right? Earning is secondary. Yeah? That's why the bright minds out here start focusing on transformational journey. Start talking about business. Start talking about impact. Start talking about bringing in more revenue, margins, skills fluidity, all that we spoke about. And talk less about using GPT for other causes. That's my earnest request to all of you guys. And to your question, it is their prerogative. There are systems that are already in place which will say this is an AI generated content already. Yeah, and today people are willing to buy that also, saying, yeah, it's an AI generated, but I'm okay still, as long as I get to learn. But as long as I get instigated by something, and those has to stop, I'm sure there will be some governance that will come into picture. Mind you, in the regulatory bodies today, we have GDPRs, we have SOC 2 Type 2, we have DPDP, we have multiple such acts every government is putting through that will have to solve for all of these. Yeah, I know few governments have already stopped people with 16 years of age getting into social also. If all those are going to come in, all these will get reduced. Why do people do all of those? It is again the reach, making them habitual so that it will impact their product and people start buying something and so on, right? It's all for a cause. If the causation is stopped, the symptoms will also go off, in my view. Yeah?
Yes, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right, guys, I know I've stretched a lot, I've delayed already. Thank you so much for this opportunity, everyone. I'm here for some more time. We will catch up right after the panel session as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that insightful session on the evolving employee experience in modern organization and your tech HR perspective. As a token of appreciation, I request Dr. Amuda Lakshmi, Associate Professor, to felicitate the speaker. Thank you. We now move on into one of the most engaging segment of the seminar, panel discussion. The theme of this discussion is New Labor Codes and the Future of Employment in India, multi-industry perspectives. We have eminent professionals in the industry who has accepted our invite to grace the session. I now call upon Ms. Ritika to introduce Mr. Dinesh Kumar Kamalasegaran, Senior Principal, Employee Relations, Infosys.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my privilege to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, Mr. Dinesh Kumar Kamalasegaran. Mr. Dinesh Kumar currently serves as the Senior Principal Employee Relations at Infosys, one of the world's leading global technology and consulting organizations. With over a decade of experience at Infosys, he has played a key role in strengthening employee relations, fostering positive workplace culture, and enhancing organizational engagement. Earlier in his career, he also worked as a campus recruiting manager at PwC India, managing campus hiring for the advisory practice, and began his professional journey as an operations officer at Indian Oil Corporation Limited. Academically, he holds a mechanical engineering degree and a management degree specializing in HR and marketing from Bharathidasan Institute of Management, Tiruchirappalli. Known for his energetic and passionate approach to human resources, he actively shares insights on leadership, emotional intelligence, and building psychologically safe workplaces. We are delighted to have him with us today. On behalf of everyone present, I warmly welcome and thank Mr. Dinesh Kumar for joining us in this panel discussion. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Ritika. To introduce Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan Somasundaram, HR Manager, Taj Clubhouse, we have Ms. Samyukta.
Good afternoon to everyone present here. It's my great privilege to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan Somasundaram, a seasoned HR professional with nearly 2 decades of extensive experience in the hospitality industry. He is currently serving as a human resource manager at Taj Clubhouse, Chennai, and has been associated with the renowned Taj Hotels Group for over 19 years. Throughout his career, he has significantly contributed to talent development, employee engagement, and strengthening organizational effectiveness. Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan has held key HR leadership roles across several prestigious HR properties, including Taj Fisherman Cove Resort and Spa and Vivanta IT Expressway, Chennai. He began his professional journey with Sterlite Industries before transitioning into an hospitality sector, where he steadily progressed from an HR executive to a strategic HR leader. Academically, Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan holds a master degree in social work from Madras School of Social Work. We are delighted to have him with us today. On behalf of everyone present, I warmly welcome for joining us in this panel discussion.
Thank you, Samyukta. I request Mr. Rupesh Roy to read the profile of Mr. Kulandaivel, Deputy General Manager, HR, Swings Theatre, India.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce our esteemed panelist, Mr. Kulandaivel. Kulandaivel V is a people development professional with 2.5 decades of diversified working experience in the gamut of human resources. He has specific interest in employee relations, engagement, and learning and development. He is passionate about bringing in positive change in the work culture through individual development, which pays off for the betterment of the organization. Kulandaivel has enriched his HR expertise by working with various organizations, which includes a variety of manufacturing, telecom, services, and corporate, both Indian and multinationals. He gained experience both in well-organized corporate as well as his greenfield projects. He is professionally qualified for human resources, which includes bachelor's in labor management and master's in social work, both specialized in personnel management and industrial relations, from Tamil Nadu Institute of Labor Studies and Madras School of Social Work, respectively. Enduring coach, certified to be a professional certified coach from International Coach Federation, USA, and a practicing NLP professional with a certification from NFNLP, passionate in delivering guest lectures and mentoring. Currently working for Swingstetter India Private Limited as a Deputy General Manager for Industrial Relations and Human Resource Administration. We are delighted to have him with us today. On behalf of everyone present here, I warmly welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Rupesh. To introduce the moderator of this session, I now request Ms. Arini to read the profile of Ms. Punita Antony, AVP and Head of Talent Management, Strive.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, Ms. Punita Antony. Ms. Punita is a postgraduate in management with over 20 years of experience in human resources. She has extensive expertise in areas such as employee relations, HR business partnering, organizational development, change management, HR compliance, with a special focus on grievance handling and sexual harassment cases. She currently heads the talent management function for the data analytics and AI solution business and serves as the HR compliance head for India at Stripe. Prior to this, she worked with Movate and Infosys, contributing 9 years of service in each organization. Beyond her corporate role, she is the executive trustee of the Matram Foundation, where she actively supports education, career guidance, and women's empowerment initiatives. We are truly honored to have such an accomplished leader with us today. Please join me in warmly welcoming Ms. Punita Antony to this panel discussion.
Thank you. I now request our moderator and panelists to occupy the dais.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Pre-lunch, always like this, le? All of you are hungry? Ah. So we can't give you food for your stomach, but at least we'll try give some food for your thoughts during our panel discussion today. So quickly, I'll just set the context of today's discussion, right? Now, post-independence, we were all dealing with 29 different laws. And for many, many years, all that the people with gray hairs and suits who are sitting here knew about is these 29 laws. And we were just talking that earlier as well as to how much we are so ingrained in all of this and how that has defined the way we work. But all of these laws and processes that were there in the past was for a very, very different kind of workforce, a very different environment, a very different working population itself. And it is very much needed to bring in a different thought process. And I think with that great ambition, the government of India then brought it down into 4 labor codes, which has been drafted and which has been published. Now what happens is there is this, typically, with today's condition, I don't think I should say war, but there is a war between ambition and actually readiness to implement what has been already there, right? So we are dealing with a population of 500 million workforce, with more than 90% of them are not even formal workforce. And that's the kind of industry that we are working. In India, the kind of workforce is coming from multiple industries. Today, the labor code has redefined workers for us. Today, they're recognizing gig workers. The entire fixed-term employment is getting defined. So there's so much of changes that is happening. And what we wanted to think through and what we wanted to discuss in today's panel is, are we ready as an industry? What are HR folks doing? How are we preparing ourselves? Well, there is a lot of ambiguity that is there as such. And with that ambiguity, how much of preparedness are we facing? And I think that's the kind of thought process that we had for the panel. So with that, we'll start with 1 or 2 common questions with I'd like all of them to respond. And then, because each of them represent a different industry altogether, from an industry-specific standpoint, I also wanted to see if we can have some questions. So that's the overall flow for today. And we will hopefully keep some time for question answers towards the end, if you guys can still spend some time talking to us and keep your lunch break for another 10-15 minutes. Yeah, is that good? All right. So moving on, the first question that I wanted to ask the panel, right, is now the 4 labor codes have been notified but not yet fully implemented, that's what we said. But from your organization standpoint, have you begun the preparation? What does this preparedness mean to you as such?
Yeah, I'll start off. Good afternoon, everybody. I know it's pre-lunch, but we'll try to kind of keep you as much occupied as possible. Thanks, Punita, for setting a context. And the first thing that we wish to tell all of you is, labor comes in the concurrent list, right? You go back to your civics, you would recall what happened there. You have a central list, you have a state list, and you have a concurrent list. So from an organization perspective, we will have to wait for the guidance what we're getting from the central government. We also have to wait for the rules that are going to be formed by the respective state government, right? Then you compare both, and then you start implementing what you call as your policies, and from your policies flows in your processes. From an IT industry standpoint, specifically, I just want to talk about 3-4 things. The first thing that all of us are mulling over and what we are trying to understand and come out with is this entire definition of who comes or who's going to be defined as a worker and who's going to be defined as a manager, right? So these are 2 classifications that are currently out there. Based on some case laws, you also have a category who are going to be coming in as supervisors. So the first thing that we are trying to do is come out with this. The second key aspect for the entire industry is this entire definition of how are you going to come out with wages, right? This is something that's going to burn a lot of, have an impact on your overall P&L, and that is something that we're all coming with. 3 other things which are very important is your working hour classification. What is going to be working hours and what is going to be overtime. And this is something, again, there have been multiple conversations Unfortunately, some very clear guidelines have not been given. We are still waiting for a few more updates, particularly from an IT industry standpoint, because IT industry typically works 5 days a week, right? Whether it's going to be 48 hours overall, or is it going to be 8 hours a day, beyond which it's going to be called as overtime. These are some things that we are contemplating. As an industry, we've never adopted overtime as a concept, and that is something that is a sea change for us in the IT industry. Last but not the least is this definition of the grievance redressal committee. Till now, because we were not coming under the Industrial Disputes Act, some of us had a standing order, the others we completely relied on internal processes. Now with standing orders and GRC coming in, a lot of things are going to change. Just for your understanding, today if there is an industrial dispute, now what's an industrial dispute? If somebody has a problem with the management and they wish to kind of take it external, they go to an authority called as a conciliation officer, right? Now today what the GRC says, before you go to the conciliation authority, you will have an internal independent mechanism who will review this in detail, and if you are still not satisfied, then you go to the conciliation authority. So, but how is this body going to be defined? Will it be another arm of the management? Will it truly represent the spirit of having representation from workers and management? These are some of the issues what the IT industry is grappling with, Punita. Maybe I'll just give it to the...
Yes. Thank you, Punita, and thank you, Dinesh. It's a nice content setting. And of course, good afternoon, and hope same, it's the lunch time, and of course, everybody eager to look out for lunch. Since you're talking about lunch, because I come from an industry, is basically an hotel industry, so we have different kind of, employee category, basically. We have somebody who is literally, who has done his MBAs and BEs, who works with an engineering, and we have somebody who's literally has not even gone for school. So that's how we, have to change and see who comes under worker, who comes under employee. Basically, that's how we, put into definition. To check with all these codes, which we had lot of things where 29 comes into 4, we also had something called a Catering Establishment Act. Only in Tamil Nadu, it was there. Basically, other things will come under shops and establishment. Only in Tamil Nadu, we had something called Catering and Establishment Act. So that act also covers before with working hours and everything. Especially when you're talking about working hours, our industry is much more volatile, We can't define anybody works because somebody comes with a function, say, I want to start the function, banquet function at night, 11 o'clock. Somebody say, my marriage will start only at 12 o'clock in the night. Somebody say early morning. So we have to keep our workforce readily available for those undefined times. When comes undefined times, how does we make sure that 8 hours or 48 hours a week to put into the picture? So right now, overtime is being calculated. Yes, of course, we pay overtime, but what the new code is going to put in is double the wages for each and every hour we're going to put into it. So that is being prepared as of now, as a new code comes in. Of course, what we say is the financial implication on the code definition, which is wages, which is included, which is excluded. That is part. And next is the processes where we have to put the GRC committee, which is definitely we are working on. We have to create something called grievance redressal committee, which is GRC, which compromise with workers, employees. That again, there is little more definition put in the picture, like how many women workforce should be part of the GRC committee. That also been right now been put into force, like equal number of representation should be also part of women in that committee. So all these changes will be effect when we have a clear definition when this code wages comes into picture. Apart from that, as an industry, we also look into we have a lot of casual laborers, which we call gig workers right now, which also needs to be now registered with the government, which is yet to get formalized. So these gig workers also be part of our industry. And of course, the new fixed term contract employees, they also be part of our employment, and good, they are also been recognized well in this new code of wages. Now with this,
Thank you. Thank you, Punita, for the context setting. The question is, are we ready? My answer would be a little different,
because we are in 2026, and the first and foremost act, or the oldest act, up to my knowledge, the Workman Compensation, which came in 1923, and the Trade Union Act, 1926. So, are we ready for 100 years? So, even government took some time. So, one interesting fact which I saw when I flipped through the books for the code, government gave to a recommendation committee in the year 2002. And that first committee has not done anything, I believe, and the second committee recommendation only came, and then we now only contemplating how it is going to impact us and what are we preparing it. So, are we prepared? No, not yet. From the government standpoint, no. Okay. When it comes to industry, specific to, I represent manufacturing, so there are items or the things which already established to do for the welfare, safety, well-being of the workman. So, topmost should be the safety, and in this code I could see some preventive measures for the hazardous nature of the industry or the health care of a individual who is working in the organization. See, actually, lunchtime, so I wanted to catch you up with a story. It is a very sad story, actually. An employee underwent the annual health checkup, like any other employee, and any year for that matter. Every year the annual health checkup is done. So he has done, and then within 2 weeks' time, he died because of heart attack. So we were worrying what kind of a health checkup that was. It was only to have a eyewash of compliance. So this preventive health care, or the ages are all defined, and the number of years of experience is defined for a person to undergo his privilege of getting health care benefits, is one among the things which we all should take care of. Whether government is serious about it or not, we as a professional should be taking care of that as a very important thing. And Constitution of Grievance Committee, and also pertaining to manufacturing, it is Safety Committee Constitution. Nothing much is there in the Safety Committee Constitution. It was all along the same. And then now they are saying about submission of a report, or anybody can raise an query about the Safety Committee minutes of meeting which has been discussed during that point. That is one thing we are already ready with. And appointment orders, invariable of the nature of the workman, be it contract, gig, or fixed, whoever it is, permanent or a staff, they are governed by the appointment letters. By this, at least they are all noted as that they are working for some organization in a meritorious way. Again, wage structure, it is a $100 million question now. 50-50, what 50 we don't know, and the other 50 what we don't know. Actually, wages means, that's some definition comes in for our throw some clarity about it. It is month on month what you are getting, at least for a 3 months time. If you are getting something in the component, that should be viewed as a wages. So the CTC part will, of course, manufacturing is little simple. When it comes to IT and service and other industry, there are variable pay, there are various pays, and all put together in a special allowance, all this. So, see, in a simple term, ours is like basic and DA is must, because if I talk about contract workmen, the minimum wages itself is the basic and DA, that's all. Maybe now it put together, it is around 15,000 it comes. So that is little simple. If we give PF, ESI, they are bound by the ESI, that's all okay to calculate and all. Now the gratuity is the must. There is no window of 5 years or that 240 days and all those things. Now gratuity is must for everyone. It has to be paid even prorated. So this is about the wage structure. So we are ready with all those things. Some calculation done around, and then cost to the company is increased by at least by 750 rupees per month for a person for the contract workman who is covered minimum to the minimum wages. And we all know corona, COVID-19 and also the sad part is that our bros from Bihar, Orissa, they all walked a long distance to at least to go closer to their hometown. So at least in this code, this pandemic, thanks to COVID again, pandemic and other regulations were very well defined and codified. So in the light of that, this interstate migrant workmen are getting notified now. They have to be registered. They are known as a person, at least. And then they are, one good point about that is the journey allowance to be given to go to their hometown and back at least once in a year. That is all, and other welfare measures. There are National Social Welfare Committee and then State Welfare Committee, Board of, Building and Other Construction Workmen Welfare Committee. So there are welfare committees and national commissions. Let all mechanisms should do their work, do their part, and at least as a professional custodian of all this, we also should do some part of it. So that is one thing. And then, when we talk about, without any gender, we talk about workmen. When it specifically come to women, so now there is a taboo of 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. and there are many judgments, and thanks to IT industries, they still engage and deploy women, and of course they are all safeguarded with the doorstep travel arrangements, security guards, all those things. But when it comes to manufacturing, we now have, in our factory, we have at least 33% of women workmen are engaged, and we are traveling to a destination for only women doing a product. It is all touched and made by women only, one product of our construction equipment. So we are heading towards that. So in that context, the interstate migrant being a woman workman, so what would be their plight? That is also to be governed. And there are many things like crashes already was there. Now it is intensified, and there are certain guidelines for crash facilities. And the maternity facilities, what is the break time when it comes to maternity, nursing time. So all this claim for maternity and definition, there are a lot of different, like commissioning mother. So these are all the things that we catch up, and we need to do it for our own folks who are working for us. That is what my take. Thank you so much.
Thank you, all of you. And one thing is very clear, while there are a lot of goods, but there are also a lot of ambiguity, and I think that's what we are all grappling with. And the one common thing that all of you spoke about was about the wages, right? This whole restructuring and understanding of this wages is, now what will also happen is, because the definition has changed, the consequential costs is also increasing, whether it is your PF, whether it is your ESI, gratuity, all of that. Now, for organization, and I'm very curious to know, how are your CFOs and your board members reacting to this? Because this is going to take up a lot of cost, and compliance always has been, I stick to the bare minimum. That's the most common approach that organizations take, where I say, okay, this is the bare minimum I have to pay, I will do that, and I'm compliant. But now with the cost going up so much, how is the reaction, and what has been the feedback on that?
Maybe I'll just give a perspective from an IT industry standpoint, and the others can also add in their respective industries. Last quarter, in our all listed organizations have to report their financials every quarter. So we've set aside 1,200 crores only for the impact of labor codes. As Punita pointed out, and as the others also pointed out, whenever there is a change in your wage structure, it is going to impact your retirement benefits, whether it is your gratuity, your provident fund, etc. Now, the labor codes were notified on November 21st. And starting November 21st, they said it's going to come into vogue, though the rules were not published very clearly. So let's assume that somebody had left the organization on November 22nd, or for that matter, even November 21st. You have to pay him basis the new wage code. But what is not clear is some of these elements on what will come, the 50%, and what will not come in the 50%. As Sir pointed out, the $100 million question. So what we've done, we thought we will pay them as an arrear once there is certain clarity that is emerging, and we've set aside some funds. Having said that, Punita, compliance is non-negotiable because you are either compliant or you are non-compliant, and unfortunately or fortunately, that will be deemed by the authority. Now, we may say that we are compliant, but if the authority comes and says we are non-compliant, we are non-compliant. Thankfully, the CFOs have understood the import of this particular problem, and we've set aside some funds for that there. We largely don't see an impact coming in, but what could possibly happen is with the disruption in the business environment, it may slowly start coming. The workforce model could change. The next maybe 5 years, you'll see more of fixed term employees in the workforce compared to your permanent employees. The contractual staff, the percentage will be differing, and that is what we are anticipating.
So with the same context as we also talking about financial implication, we have also set aside certain funds. As he said, we have to also, if it's going to be a retrospective where we have to give from November 21st, so we also kept aside certain funds to make sure that we compensate if there is a law pass and we have to pay retrospective. Again, there is a big question which we are still under talks and with CFOs and this thing, because if it comes retrospective, what will happen to the overtime? Since we are not able to put forth each and every employee, if say November 21st if you work 4 hours extra, for example, and it's all recorded, it's all on your biometric where we put in and out. So for example, in our forest we have, it's all biometric. So that 4 hours, if the employee goes, how do we calculate? And with the new code, with lot of wage definition, how does the OT gets calculated from the new wages? So if that comes in picture, that will be a huge impact, especially for an industry like us, because overtime is till date was not actually put on focus, where employee working 2-3 hours up and down was being taken as granted. But with the new code, I think it will be more focused. So if that in case, there will be a huge financial impact, where CFOs and everybody are still working on it, and we are also looking into getting suggestions and comments from other companies, how does they going to take it forward. Of course, going forward, we are regulating now, we are looking into 8 hours a shift, but still it's a very difficult task, especially for our industry, where the working hours can't be moderated, because it depends on the guest who comes in. So we work for the guests, and we have to put the time accordingly. So we put break shift, we try to mitigate their working hours within a week. 48 hours a week is what we put into this thing, along with their off. So that will be a question where we have to keep aside what kind of fund we have to allocate and keep it. Rest, of course, yes, we had, as an old industry, we are also 100 years plus organization. Our basics were not, as we had this discussion, what percentage of gross salary will be defined into basic. Of course, we are into 20 to 25%, and that has to move to 50%. Again, we will have certain implications, which we are working on it. As you said, this thing is not negotiable. It's a statutory compliance, whether we are compliant or non-compliant. So there is nothing called negotiation. We have to make sure those funds are being allocated. So that is what we are also marching forward. And yes, of course, what we said, we also want to move forward. So we have to accept the code. Like as I said, all these codes have been done 100 years before. Somewhere we have to do a start point. We have to take our first step. And I appreciate that at least it started now. So that's how we have to look forward. And of course, we have to keep somebody as a benchmark, like most of the Western, what we always keep them as a benchmark. So these codes are also, certain codes are derived from the Western culture. So we have to also march forward towards that. That's what, as an industry, we look forward to take the step ahead.
Thank you. So when it comes to manufacturing and what I represent, there is no much difference actually. But the one thing which bothers us is the gratuity calculation. And it is all round the corner because end of March and next year is going to start very soon, financial year. So gratuity calculation, we always run with the third party for the gratuity allocation and insurance. So accuracy and valuation. So in that context, it becomes more important to know what is the basic NDA. From there, it 4.81% of the gratuity to be calculated. So that is one challenge, and we have not yet come across with anything of a concrete structure and to be approved by somebody in the legal eye, and then approved in the context of organization, CFO and other internal audit team. We should go through that and audit. So that is a challenge actually. The gratuity itself is a challenge, and then there are again it will come into buckets, monthly bucket, quarterly, and then annual. See what legal opinion, legal advisors are giving is that you need to give a monthly is monthly, and then you name it as monthly and give it as per the code. Rest are the things which you move to quarterly. You don't name it anything like reoccurrence every month. Are all the reimbursements. It should be reimbursements, car reimbursement, driver reimbursement, all reimbursements should come in the quarterly. And then obviously their monthly salary take home will be going down, including me. So I don't want that to happen. So, and it is in the verge of increments, next year increments. So anything can be adjusted towards that. It is also a very deep question. So finally what we understand and we come up is monthly wages, quarterly wages, and the annual retirals. So that is one part. One more thing is that since we deal with a lot of workmen, confirmed workmen, we concluded our LTS, long-term settlement, only by August. So we provisioned maximum, most of the thing we provisioned into the long-term settlement during the negotiation. We talked about the code. We were not very clear even now. Even at that point we were not clear, but some aspiration about wage code to become in picture. So we included most of the things. So it is binding, and we cannot change also now the long-term settlement. If you would have done anything, the recorrection, again there should be a negotiation actually. So we prevented that, and we have the some way we are safe into that bracket of wages for the workmen. See, other provisions, definitely the cost is going to get high. At least by if a 1 lakh basic person, employee, at least 15,000 rupees get added into the basic, so that to that extent of quantum of increase would be there. That is what I see. Thank you.
Thank you. And while we were all talking about the employer perspective, I also wanted to bring in the human aspect, right? Now, and I know in IT industry, everybody has access to all information, so they're all their own advocates. And in your case, in manufacturing, you will have unions and union representatives. So how is the general feeling amongst the employees? What are they talking? And are they expecting higher take homes, or are they thinking that increase in compliance cost will somewhere affect their probably the appraisals that we are talking about, or the increments that we are talking about in the future? So what has been the general feedback or response, or the feeling, sentiments of employees in your organizations?
So in the IT industry, we have this thing that whenever they have any policy doubt, before they go to the internal portal, they'll normally Google. Now it's become ChatGPT, right? Unfortunately, I'm sure all of you are using ChatGPT, Grok, and all your other Perplexity, etc. Yes or no? Yes. Unfortunately, you should also be looking at the source where it is drawing data, and be very careful. Compliance is a little tricky. Right? Because just like insurance, you will have something in fine print. So what has happened is, Punita, to answer your question, a lot of them come across some news articles, then they put something in ChatGPT, then they come and ask saying that, will my salary get reduced? So we tell them, no, we are still waiting for some clarity to emerge. But I think more or less what employees look for is two things. One, am I going to be compensated properly? So like how sir pointed out, I don't think we have the option to lower the salary. That is going to create a lot of unrest. So we are trying to see how to manage that. Second thing, will my job be secure after the codes come in? There I think the codes have done a fairly decent job, wherein the degree of protection what you enjoy in the IT industry has gone up a few notches. So that is something which they are keenly looking out for. But overall, the impact hasn't set in, Punita. Maybe once the notification starts and once we start communicating, then maybe we'll see more angst or happiness coming. We'll have to wait and see.
That is actually a nice question where, employees' perspective on code of wages. Especially like industry like us, there are people who are literally literate, who doesn't know what is like how you all do chat GPT. They don't even use mobiles. They still, look out for our notice boards, what's going on. And we have to keep updating them on notice board. And certain people who actually come with chat GPT and tell me, come on, tell me what is this? Can you help me out this or not? So these people, there are people actually speaking who are little senior. I mean, who are 30 plus experience, who is about to get retired, or who is going to be in another 10 years down the line, who was looking into retirement. They are literally happy, thinking that, of course, my gratuity will go up because the retirals is going to be, get doubled. Is that what their mind is going on? Similarly, who is very young, who is 22 or 23, joined just the industry, they are thinking, what I'll do with retirals? What I'm going to do with 60 years? I don't know where I'm going to work. Next 2 years, maximum with your industry. After that, I'll look out something else. So for them, what is it code of wages all about? So that is the question where we want to explain them. For them is, what is my gross? Monthly, how much I'll get it? If I say I'm going to deduct 300 rupees or 400 rupees on a ESI, what is I supposed to do? I am covered under insurance where their parents is well off. They don't know what is ESI is all about. I cut ESI. They think it is something I'm degrading them. What we all talking about. They think that yes, ESI is something which is not, I am not part of ESI. I am from a different family. ESI is something for somebody who's literally literate. So these kind of questions keep coming when it comes for, especially youngsters. So the code of wages where we need to, as an employer, has to educate employee. That is what very important. For that, of course, we will get clarity more in coming days. Once we get more clarity, we will pass on the information where they literally required. What is code? What is wages? How does the gratuity works? With the law, we have to give the full and final settlement within 2 days. 48 hours. How does we are going to work on it? Because we work on a payroll cycle. So all these we have to start thinking as an HR. We have to prepare ourselves so that we can educate the employee more and well in advance. Is what our industry looking into it. So, yeah.
Thank you. At least Lakshmi Narayan has different feeling or one set of feeling. Here in our the industry, it is both of right from president, general manager, VPs, SVPs, and also we have contract labor and we also have unionized workmen. All were only in unison. They all say only one thing: "Inge take home வந்து கம்மி பண்ணாம பார்த்துக்கங்க." See, whatever the additional burden for the company, அதை பற்றி எங்களுக்கு கவலையே இல்லை. We don't care about that. We want our salary to be intact. இதை வச்சுக்கிட்டே ஒன்றும் பண்ண முடியல. That is what the in the both side it is actually. The workmen also saying the same thing. Even the general manager, vice president, president level also the expecting the same. At least in that quadrant of elite workmen, white collars, this variable pay and other allowances can be matched with that, and then their take home will not be go down. For when it comes to workmen, it is the company or the management should take the hit of the whatever labor code says. So they don't bother about something going from their pocket. They don't understand. If as sir was saying, we are putting into gratuity, we are putting something in your PF, in your ESI, no, they don't care. We wanted whatever been stated and discussed, we want that amount. So in that context, they are very clear. I want whatever I wanted, you do whatever you wanted to do, but our salary should not go down. This is the take from our side.
Thank you so much. So now I just thought we'll quickly delve into each of your industries, right? And I'll start with you first, hospitality industry. And I know some of the questions that we had discussed had covered all the answers, so I'll ask you something different now. Tipping is a very, very common thing in the hospitality industry, right? So apart from the regular wages that people receive, there's a whole lot of tips and, other sort of income that they get in. Now with this wage definition, how are we going to even handle this? And this is perplexing me greatly because now service charge is something that you can add, you cannot add. There's a lot of conversation around that. So, and for people at that level who receive these tips, it's a great form of income. And now if that is going to be, is that going to be part of the salary? Has there been any conversation around this? Lakshmi, I just wanted to understand.
No, it's really, we are also discussing for last 20 years how to manage this tipping, because as an HR we have to be very compliant in terms of we have to show all the wages in the salary slip, irrespective how the wage comes in. Even tipping also is part of an money benefit which comes to an employee. Question is, how does the tip come in? Whether it comes through an online, a credit card, or it comes through a cash. So if it's a cash, again it goes into, I should not say it goes out of the box, where we are not able to control or see where does the money goes in and come in. But if it comes through a credit card, where it's an online source, where right now, mostly if you go to any restaurant, any meal, you say, can I add to the UPI? Is it then I can add along with the UPI? So it again have a digital transaction where we were able to show this much of amount has come in. And different hotel has a different tipping policy itself. I mean, somebody takes individually, something takes as a collective. It depends on, as you said, we also have a lot of unions with us, so they also have their own rating system. So the tipping generally goes to their salary, which is also part, but it doesn't calculate on the gross, and it won't be part of their emoluation. That will be part of a perquisite to add on tax. It won't be part of their monthly gross. So obviously that is an additional advantage how we pay, we pay a lot of variable bonus, allowances. This is also part of their variable because it is not fixed. We never knew what is going to get. Certain months yes, certain months no. So it can't be part of their gross. It will be always and separate. But yes, to show to the government, it will be part of their perquisite to add to the tax.
Very interesting. Thank you so much. And this is, I think, not just during the wage code, but like you said, this conversation, this thought process has been there for a very long time. Yeah, how do we do
when
this?
When it comes to service charge, it has been very regularized because
Correct.
as a company, we bill and we put a number, and this has also been moderated by the government.
Right.
Now we can't put service charge unless until you have your consent.
Correct.
So that has also been moderated.
Correct. Thank you so much for that. And I'll come to you, Kulandevel, on this, right? So this whole occupational safety, health and working code, and it brings about a lot of significant obligations right now, whether it is welfare officer that we spoke about, safety committees, and stricter compliance for the contract workers especially, right? Now, do you see this as a compliance exercise or a cultural shift to how we want to treat our contract employees? What is your views on this?
Yeah, it is actually a good question. Thank you for that. It is a cultural shift. By and large, it is a cultural shift, and that is what a person who is working as a permanent contract or various labels he work, but he is a workman and he is doing his hard work there in the company for the development of the company. So it has to be in the cultural shift, and everybody should be governed equally. For their education qualification and experience, they are different in different designations and different way of working, all those things. But when it comes to employment, and they should be treated equally on par with, at least for the safety aspect, at least for the welfare activities, which they are all equally governed. There should not be permanent workmen to be given on these services and welfare, and the other contract and other workmen. At least now, when I spoke in the beginning, I was mentioning about the declaration, self-declaration or registration of the migrant workmen. So they are all notified as a workman. They are all part of the organization. Now, one situation which came to us, there was some threat to North Indian guys, and then everybody was traveling back to their hometown. That was 1.5 years before. We stopped the line for that shift. So that is the scenario or the importance. The migrant workmen who contribute to the Tamil Nadu industries at least. Everywhere you see, be it service industry, be it hotel, be it a small eatery or a housekeeping, everywhere our bros are very important. So they have to be equally treated and they have to be given little much more if possible to be above the statutory levels, be it the salary, because they stated some 18,000 rupees as the mark for interstate workmen. As I was talking about women as an interstate workman, we give much more than that. Their contributions are higher. But still, why it is limited to 18,000 rupees is one question. So it is a compliance must and also a cultural shift. So it has to be in both spirit and act. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Coming to the IT sector, right, and with this whole flexible working hours and possibility of a 4-day working week with 12 hours and all of that. Now, IT has always abused that quite a bit, and we have had scenarios when there is a production time. We have had employees sitting continuously for 36 hours at work, not even going home. They're actually sitting, showering, eating, everything, and doing work at workplace. And there are times when they're on bench and they're not worked for even 3 months together, and they just come to office, go back to office, and do some learning. So in this kind of a scenario, how do you think IT will, while this flexibility is, how does IT sector as such, and how is Infosys going to handle this piece? And do you think this 4-day work week is a reality, something that we can look at becoming a reality for the Indian IT space?
So you asked a lot of questions. I'll try to break it down one by one. In our considered view, the 4-day working week is a little too early for adoption in India as an industry per se. So I don't think it's going to come in unless we get more clarity, Punita. At least the next 3 to 5 years, my personal view, I don't think it's going to come. Second thing, yep, the challenge is real because you have a hybrid work environment where you can work from office, and when you work from office, your attendance gets captured in your turnstile. So it is fairly easy for you to get your attendance data. But when you work from home, it is all about self-declaration, right? I kind of declare that I connected at 9 o'clock in the morning, I disconnected at 5 o'clock in the evening. So a lot of responsibility and accountability lies with the individual employee. The second question, as Punita pointed out, if this person is on bench, right, the individual accountability goes up. The manager will also have to kind of approve it. And how will the manager approve when this person is on bench and he's not sure? So those questions still we don't have very clear answers for that. The way the industry is slowly moving from an IT context is we are going to have some fixed work hours. Earlier it was 3.5 hours. Now the thought process is we may make it as 6 hours minimum for you to be counted as a working day, working from office. But it's going to remain, Punita. But as I said right at the beginning, this industry is maybe facing a lot of whammies together. It's not only a double whammy or a triple whammy. One side, you have the US president who is intent on making life difficult for everybody other than him and his country. The other side, you have AI coming in and disrupting a lot of things. Third side, from a regulatory standpoint, you're also kind of coming in. So it's an interesting cocktail. One takeaway for all of you, because of the labor codes, next 3 to 5 years, all of you are going to be in demand. So that is a good news, irrespective of AI coming in or AI not coming in. That is the message what I want to leave you with, 1:30. So maybe some parting thoughts. But each one of you, go back to your basics, right? AI or ChatGPT or Grok or any other medium for that matter can only act as a supplement. As Satish pointed out earlier, it will help you arrive at decisions faster, but it will not substitute your decision making. So that is something that I would leave you to mull over.
So Jebin told me 5 minutes. So if there are any questions, we'll take questions now.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Abdul. In the new labor codes, especially in the framework of IR, there is a change. Labor codes and labor court of inquiry has been removed, and it is doubled that the tribunals have been, the number of members in the tribunals have been doubled. So will it get balanced, or will it make any impact in the industrial resolution mechanism, anything like?
Okay. So your question is court of inquiry and labor courts are no more, and then the tribunals are more to take their queries. Okay. So the first mechanism is the conciliation officer, where he takes and he only promotes it to either to labor court or to the industrial tribunal. That is the mechanism as of now we have. Most of the labor court decisions challenged in the tribunal, high court, some possibility of going back to in a tribunal and also to the high court. So the basically the tribunals are where they are all in the high court campus. So it is only a courtroom deciding what matter to be discussed and decided. So there won't be any imbalance. Basically, it would be a fast track. It should be a fast track because it goes to labor court, come back to IT, and then or come back to high court. Because numbering at high court takes much more delay. It takes at least 12 months, 24 months to get the number in high court, be it a fast track or whatever sensitive case. Because for example, if an employee lost his job, how far and how long he can wait? So it goes to conciliation officer. Conciliation officer has to give the failure report only after certain conciliation period. It goes to 3 months, 6 months, or a year also. And then he refer it only because of only after the failure report you can go to labor court or the IT. So cutting a labor court and inquiry would be better thing to balance this. This is what my take. Anybody can add to. Any other question? We'll ready to take. It is only of your advantage we are prompting you because the clock is ticking. Any questions?
I guess there are no questions, so we'll kind of close. But first of all, thank you so much. 3 panelists from 3 different industries, and not just expertise, the kind of candor that you got into this conversation. Thank you to each one of you. It was beautiful. Now, India has the youngest workforce, right? And this is the workforce that's going to go into the market. And these codes that are there today are not just administrative statements. These are what that is going to define the economic trajectory of the country in itself, right? How we are taking care of our employees. How do we want this employer-employee relationship to be? And what is the kind of benefits and what is it that our employees can look forward to in the workspace? That's the kind of conversation that this whole labor code has brought in. So this conversation does not end here. It goes back into our own boardrooms, into our meeting rooms, and I'm sure it has to continue in your classrooms as well. And that's what we intended to do today. So I hope we were able to give you food for thought, and now you can go back to your food for your tummies. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you to our moderator and distinguished panelists for sharing their perspective on new labor codes. I request Dr. J. Chandrasekhar, Dr. Amuda Lakshmi, and Dr. Lakshmi, our associate professors, to felicitate our moderator and distinguished panelists. As a token of appreciation, we are pleased to present this hamper to our speakers. We would like to acknowledge our sponsors for this gesture, the Mine Company, and our beloved student, Ms. Ritika, for the brownies. I request all the office bearers for a group photo. I also request the faculties to join.